Happy October, guys. You know what that means. Petras is dropping Turn Off the Light Volume 2, technically the full album Turn Off the Light. I don't think she intends to make a Volume 3 anytime soon, but she's unveiled a full album of sorts, about 17 tracks worth of content, and it includes last year's awesome release that I never had time to really cover. So I'm going to cover those songs and the entire album and just put my thoughts down onto paper. It begins with Purgatory, which is a, for the most part, instrumental track. Very great, atmospheric, very sharp. It's a teaser, and the transition to There Will Be Blood is amazing, which carries me to the track There Will Be Blood. So There Will Be Blood, certified banger. It is the daughter that I never had, the mother that I never had. Okay. In all seriousness, I do like this track a lot. I find wonderful things in it. I think the chorus is really well constructed, as is the pre-chorus. I will say that I was a little concerned that there wasn't a bridge. That, to me, kind of speaks volumes on how this is just a theory that I have in terms of this album, the way that she announced it, the way that it dropped. I feel like Kim put way more effort into clarity than she did into this record, which is understandable because clarity is meant to be the main dish. This is more like Halloween candy, a fun throwaway, a fun giveaway, not necessarily something that's completely fleshed out. And I had to remind myself about that throughout the entire record to not get disappointed. I've seen a lot of hot takes by people saying that this wasn't as good or whatever. I don't think those criticisms are necessarily valid, simply because, you know, this is kind of like it's a promotional fun holiday thing. It's not meant to be like game changing or amazing. The first one was a surprise and we all loved it. This one's more like a sequel, a follow-up, but not necessarily like on par with that, merely because of the expectations set forth by the first record. But back to the song, I like it a lot. It's great, but it's not as catchy or memorable to me as I thought it would be. The next track is Bloody Valentine, which is more of an interlude than a proper song, but I enjoy it. It's a fun interlude leading into Wrong Turn. Lyrics are obviously repetitive, but the production, as always, is very solid. I do think that it's a nice palate cleanser leading into Wrong Turn, which is my favorite of the new tracks, actually. I think Wrong Turn tells stories better than There Will Be Blood. It tells like a very interesting story of this romance, loving that's just completely wrong and awful, and you're basically going to die. There's this foreboding sense to it that's ominous yet fun. It's danceable. I feel like Wrong Turn is actually one of the tracks, one of the newer tracks that would blend in the most with what we got from Volume 1, and that's probably why I like it so much, merely because it builds onto the mythology of the record. I do believe that there's a story to be told on this record of a girl demon monster thing. It's still relatively vague, and I wish Kim would make a series of music videos. I feel like that'd be really sick. If she's not going to record like a Volume 3, I feel like creating a mini movie of sorts next year would be the next best thing, because I'd love to see what they kind of envision as a story around this, because it's vague from the musical perspective, but I would love to see some visuals. I will say that I really love the line "It's your final destination," just because of the Wrong Turn puns. I mean, the song's really clever. It's one of the more sharper songs on the record, I think. Next track is Demons, which is a solid interlude. I wish there were less interludes, but I understand time constraints and perhaps the urge to demonstrate wonderful production skills. Very atmospheric, like the other interludes, something that you can definitely get down to on the dance floor. I do like how it bleeds into Massacre, which is the next track, which I've seen to be the one that has the most polarizing reception so far amongst bunheads, Twitter stands and the sort, samples this Christmas classic song, Carol of the Bells, which kind of puts off a lot of people merely because of the distaff nature between Halloween and Christmas, unless you're a stan of that movie from Disney, The Nightmare Before Christmas, in which case then you probably love the song. I think you'd love the song or the energy that it brings. I think it's a interesting addition to Kim's discography. I'm relatively ambivalent. I wouldn't rank this really high, but I wouldn't rank it at the very bottom. I think that there's a innovative sense to it. I think that of all the new tracks, other than Everybody Dies, there's a daring sense of exploration here. I think Kim wanted to experiment, and she got the chance to interpolate a classic Christmas song with Halloween themes. It works for the most part, but I do see the points that both sides make, which brings us into the next interlude track, Knives, which I like the most out of all of the interludes, merely because of the novelty of hearing knives scrape. I like this one. I think it's more unique, I guess. I'm so sorry if I don't sound enthusiastic or I feel underwhelmed per se. I just merely don't have much to say about production of interludes, merely because I don't have much to really say. I am a very lyrical person. I studied English in college, for God's sake, so I'm always looking for literary meanings, and I'm pretty sure that we can derive meaning from instrumentals, but that's not my forte per se. The second to last new addition to Turn Off the Light, Death by Sex, is actually probably, I don't know, this is a highlight off the record for me. I just love slutty bangers. I love songs that you can definitely just go off to the club in. This is a really fun song to dance to and just to play out loud. It's campy, it's ridiculous, it's fun. It still follows the modicum of horror, but this gives me some Jennifer's Body vibes. I can't wait to see someone make an edit of that movie to the song. I do like the chillness of the song. It brings this fun dichotomy of urgency and also just laxness. I think the blatant sexuality of the track accentuates the whole archetype of pop girls and Halloween and slutty costumes and that stuff. I find it satirical, yet at the same time just self-serious enough to be a sultry song. And then we have the original record, and it throws me back to a time where I feel completely different from last year. Personally, lots of personal shit that I won't go into, but it's pretty nostalgic sounding almost in a calming way. Omen comes in and you're all like, okay, here we go, I'm ready to dance again. Omen is really a good introduction. It reminds me of Michael Jackson's Thriller. It reminds me of spooky Halloween vibes, some scary godmother tease, if you know what I mean. It's very fun, and then it gets you in that mood. I feel like it's a stronger opener than Purgatory in some sense. And then it bleeds into Close Your Eyes, which is a classic. In a fair and just world, this would be all I want for Christmas is you, but for Halloween. I mean, yeah, we have Thriller, but I just really love this track. I think the energy brought here, this is like seminal Kim. She really proved herself on this track, because she took the energy and vibrance and just the magic that she had during Era 1 that really made her stand out, and she just channeled it into one of the most banging choruses of all time. I love this track, guys. I'm just going off the rails here. I love it. And that transition into Transylvania with the pun, come on, guys. Classic work here. I sound so biased towards Volume 1, but Volume 1 truly just set the bar way too high. Turn Off the Light, the titular track featuring Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I was playing this song all year last year. I didn't care it was Halloween or Christmas, whatever the heck. This one is that song was it, you know, like call me basic, but it has the structure, you know, that's missing from the newer tracks. You can tell a lot of love was put into it. I'm not calling the newer tracks lazy or anything. I just feel like so much more effort was channeled into making a cohesive, stronger record out of volume 1. You know, I feel like these new tracks kind of were tacked on and not tacked together. They're well made. It's just like I just don't sense that they add much to the lore that was created from volume 1, because volume 1 tells you a story of basically someone who is this demon who just can't be loved and is a monster in many ways. Yeah, I guess that's the story I get from volume 1, and I think volume 2 or the additional tracks try to flesh it out a little bit more, hence why I want an actual video set. I am so sorry if I come off as negative. Like, don't get me started on Tell Me It's a Nightmare. I love this track so much. The chorus, guys, the chorus, the post-chorus, just the structure. Again, I'm always talking about structure, and if this is something to mention when I usually rate or review or think of things, I love pop because pop is formulaic. There is a structure set into place. There's a verse, pre-chorus if we're lucky, chorus, post-chorus if we're also lucky and it's melodic, and then verse 2, and then etc. Bridge, I love bridges. Give me a good bridge and I will love you forever. And then outro. And that's something that I felt was lacking this time around, but isn't lacking in volume 1. And even with the interludes in volume 1, they never felt excessive. They felt proper. They felt like little bookmarks, bookends, and fun little things to dance to, because these are dance records. These are the music that you're going to play at your Halloween party where you are surrounded by a bunch of wasted twinks and maybe like a hag or two if you're lucky. And I Don't Want to Die is a really good interlude because there's just enough vocals in there to you know, keep you together before that bass drops hits, and then, you know, you get into In the Next Life, which is an absolute classic as well. I would rate it as high as Close Your Eyes. I really love when she just goes off the rails and says that she's the greatest. She earned that. She earned that with that song. She earned it. And then, you know, Boo Bitch happens at the end. It's a nice little cap off. And then, you know, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I actually really do like Everybody Dies as a closer. Merely because it's just like, it's so weird, it's so out there, it's genuinely happy in a weird sense. It's happy in a sinister way that's more unsettling than any track that sounds gothic and dark could be. At least to me, you know, that's just my opinion. Seen some really angry tweets where people have said that they would delete this track off the record, or they wish it had been cut, or it doesn't make any sense. I like it. She's serving some early era Avril here. I think that it's a good catharsis. It's like a good, I feel like it's her shaking off the energy and the vibes of this record. It's like when someone who's been playing a villain in a movie just like records a video of themselves like dancing or just being like themselves and like chill outside of the context of the film or the narrative. I feel like the song is pretty haunting in that there is a point to be said here. Like, people live, but they don't really live, and this song evokes the same energy that I see in Blow It All, which is a better track and one of my favorite Kim tracks. All in all, I do think that this entire record is great. I feel like It's not necessarily her best effort per se, but as a project and a concept, it's stronger than most. And your fave probably doesn't even have a Halloween album, let alone recognize the holiday, so I don't think you can say anything there. Yeah, I'm really sorry if I came off as like sassy or lazy or just not as analytical or sharp as I usually am. I chalk that up to just being in a weird transitionary period myself in terms of like how life works and just personal stuff. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I'm definitely making more videos. I hope the next one's way more insightful and sharp. I just really wanted to put my thoughts out on this record, and if you guys have made it this far, thank you so much. I'm really sorry. I wish I'd recorded something just up to my standards and better, but sometimes put something out and you hope it's good. And honestly, I'm happy that I'm candid with you guys. Like, if you noticed in my earlier videos, particularly the videos that I talked about movies and maybe my first few video essays on pop, I just felt so stiff and non-conversational. Now I feel like Theodore Roosevelt or Franklin Roosevelt, whoever the hell that guy was who did the fireside chats. And like, you girls and gays, y'all are listening to me talk about pop. So thank you for that. Please don't unsubscribe. And if you want to just hear more, subscribe, I guess, and follow me on my social channels. So thanks, guys. Bye.